I thank the gentleman for yielding. I'm enjoying listening to the partnership conversation. I want to come from a different perspective, though. I want to talk about the partisanship conversation. When I was 6 years old and Senator Isakson was elected as a U.S. House member, it was 23 out of 180 members of the House, as I recall. Now, I don't know how many there were before you got there, Senator. But being a Republican in Georgia in 1976 was not a popular thing to do. And I think about all the things that we want to do together in this body, Senator. And I think about folks who say, oh, we can't do that. It's too hard. It's going to take too long. Let's do something today, but let's not focus on those long-term goals. You might think that when Ronald Reagan was elected in 1980 that was a big jump in Georgia. As I recall, there were still 23 members in the U.S. in the Georgia House in Georgia in 1980, 23 out of 180. Somebody had to be the first one to stand up. And we talk about partisanship in this institution, Madam Speaker, like it's a bad thing. What I have always loved about you, Senator, is you have never been embarrassed to be a Republican. You knew what you believed. You knew why you believed it. Now, you might not like the way someone else expresses their Republican values, but you led with your heart. You can sit right beside a Democratic hero like John Lewis, and I can't tell a difference when it comes to Southern gentility, but you'll never be embarrassed to share who you are as a Republican. That's what it takes to grow from 23 members in a 180-member body into the institution that Tom Graves had an opportunity to serve in, into the institution that so many of our colleagues had a chance to serve in. We talk about bipartisanship as that holy grail. It requires partisanship to get there, and but for the example that you set, we wouldn't have the Republican Party in Georgia, and we wouldn't have Isakson values in that party. Talked about partisanship, Madam Speaker. I want to talk about people as the second part of that. I've always imagined the roughest part about being a United States Senator, is that you lose that one-on-one contact that you've had. In a congressional district, you can get to know people. You can be with them in community. Your entire career has been about people. I watch you when you walk into a room, folks that I ought to know who they are because I've worked with them. I just can't remember. I see you go up and greet them by name. Folks that have come into the room from all different congressional districts. You've got a relationship with them. Maybe from back in 76 when you were trying to grow the party across the state. Maybe from back when you were leading education. Maybe from back in the 6th District. Maybe from your time as a United States Senator. But you've always put people first. I see that in every speech you've given in Gwinnett and Forsyth counties. You'll stand up. You'll always thank the staffers who are working for you. It's your Academy Day that I enjoy the most. That's my favorite time that we spend together each year. And if you don't know, Madam Speaker, the Isakson Academy Day is a statewide event that brings all the young men and women who love an opportunity. They can do anything they want to with their life. They want to serve the United States of America. They want to be the future generation of leaders. And even as young as 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, they come to this event that Senator Isakson puts together. Talk about all the lives that you've changed here in this institution. Don't even get started on the number of lives you've changed as it relates to leadership and opportunity to serve through your Academy Day. Thinking about you being a Republican, a Republican's Republican. I think about Reva Jennings in Forsyth County. You know Reva. She is as hardcore. And for folks who don't know, Madam Speaker, Forsyth County is one of the most conservative counties in the state of Georgia. Conservative state, conservative county. Reva Jennings has been building that Republican Party up there for as long as anyone can remember. We lost her in an untimely way. But while everybody loves you on your way out the door, Senator, you might remember a tough primary season or two where folks might come to you and say, Johnny, why aren't you more angry about this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing as Republican primary seasons are? We tend to eat our own. And Reva Jennings, the first time I met her, was fielding one of those questions. Somebody came up and said, "We've got to get somebody to challenge that Johnny Isakson in the next primary. He's soft for a Republican." Now you know Reva; she doesn't have any softness in her. She went right to your steel backbone. She went right after it. She took it to that whole crowd of Republicans, saying, "You can poor mouth anybody you want to in this town, but you cannot poor mouth Johnny Isakson because he's done more for the Republican Party than anybody in this state has. And let me tell you how." It's not hard to find detractors out there these days. It's hard to build those lifelong friendships that create that gift of relationship that you have offered so many. You've offered to me. I'm grateful to you for it. I wouldn't be standing here today but for the work you've done over those years. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Mr. Scott.